Hi, I'm Rachel McLeod, licensed clinical social worker and emotional wellness coach. And today I'm going to talk to you about how to avoid 3 common mistakes that parents who struggle with anxiety, depression, or traumatic stress make with their children. And so that's what I want to talk about. And I'm kind of feeling a little self-conscious because I just ate tacos. Sorry. Bear with me. Okay. So I want to talk about these 3 mistakes and I want you to avoid them. So let's jump right in. Let me tell you why I'm getting on talking about this. I was the child of somebody who had one of these disorders, and I also had one of these disorders. And so, I know what it's like, what it feels like to have to be the child of somebody who's struggling with this, and I don't want that for your children. I don't want that for my children. And so this is something that I have given a lot of thought to because it's been my experience. And like I said, I want to avoid this mistake myself, these 3 mistakes. And the other reason why I'm talking about this is because knowledge is power. The more you know about this stuff, the more that you're aware of these things, the more that you are aware of how these things work, the more you can really, you can make sure they don't happen, but also they can be part of your motivation. They can be part of what helps you to really get well and be emotionally well. And yes, that is absolutely possible. And so my goal in this video is 1, to open your eyes to a couple of things, 2, show you how to avoid them, and 3, help you decide to go deep and make the changes that you need to make to be emotionally well. So let's go. So the first mistake that parents make with their children, and the parents I'm talking about is parents who have emotional unwellness in the categories of anxiety, depression, or traumatic stress, and sometimes some of you are struggling with anxiety, depression, or traumatic stress, and you don't know that you are or not. You are, maybe you're emotionally eating. Well, the number 1 cause of emotional eating is anxiety. And then we've got, trauma and depression like right there too. So, this applies to you as well. Maybe you are hiding behind a lot of marijuana to keep your brain from really freaking out. That a lot of that, what's underneath the heavy marijuana use is anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. Some of you are yelling at your children and you're just angry outbursts. Well, guess what? That's not just because you're a bad parent. That's because you're struggling with anxiety, depression, and or traumatic stress. And so that's really what's going on. So when you hear me say this, 1, I want you to be thinking about these challenges you're facing in an entirely different way. Because when you start focusing on the real problem, you can create massive amounts of change. But if you are chasing other problems, then you can really get lost in this, and you can keep fighting the shadow of the problem for decades, for lifetimes. This is something that people do. And I don't want you to fight the shadow. I want you actually to fight the real problem, because that is easily resolvable. And maybe that's just my belief because this is what I do. But I help people change from these things, and I see great transformation in such a short amount of time. And actually, like, you can tell their brain is healing and changing. And so if this is it, and guess what? PTSD, anxiety, depression have beautiful prognosis, beautiful outcomes with the right treatment. So put that in there and think about that. But let's get started on these mistakes. So the first mistake that I see these parents make is is thinking that their kids don't understand what's going on, thinking that they're hiding this problem from their kids. And I see that a lot. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, they say to me that I'm doing a really good job keeping this from them. And I know that that's your intention. I know that's exactly what you want to be doing. You want to keep this from them. And I want you to. And that's not how it works. The children are seeing this stuff. They know, they can feel you. They have mirroring neurons in their brain. So actually the faces you're making, their brain is firing off in the same exact way. The ways that you suffer, they're suffering in the same way. They can feel it. As a little girl, I could map out the emotional wounds of not only my mother, but of many of the adults that were around me. And I didn't have words for them until I became an adult, but I absolutely could. And I want you to look back and think about your relationship with your mom. your relationship with your dad. And I want you to think about, from a little age, did you know that they were wounded? Did you know that they had an emotional wound? And likely the answer is yes. Did your parents try to keep that away from you? Probably. Did they? No. You know. And so it's really, this is a mistake. And I want you to avoid this, because what happens is that your children grow up and learn about anxiety, depression, or traumatic stress, or other kinds of emotional unwellness, and they don't have words for it. They don't understand. And they can see it, they can feel it, but they don't know what's happening. And when it starts happening to them, they don't have words for it. And they don't know what's happening, and they don't know what to do with it. And actually they do know what to do with it. They do the exact same thing you do with it, which might be to push it down, eat some food about it, get high, make sure you have those 3 glasses of wine at night, play your little Tetris. I'm totally flashing back to the 90s there. But play your little Blossom Blast and check out for a while, because your brain's on fire. And it is. If you're suffering from anxiety, depression, or traumatic stress, your brain is really on fire. And it might be so hot that your brain actually shuts it off and goes numb. If you've got a lot of numbness going on, that's because you've got a lot of symptoms of distress. You've got a lot of anxiety, depression, or trauma. But basically, it doesn't matter what label it goes under. If you're numb, you've got a lot of emotional pain going on. And don't think your kids don't know that. Right? They are perceptive. They are just, think of them as little people. They know. Okay? So the jig is up. Let's get real here. Your kids know that you're suffering. Your kids know that you're being silent right now. Your kids know that you can't speak up for yourself right now. Your kids know that you feel undeserving. They know this is all happening. Okay? So one way to avoid this, and please watch the rest of the video, because you can do this right, and there's a right way and there's a wrong way to do this. But you can talk to your kids about anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. There are wonderful children's books. You can learn a lot, actually, about this from children's books. I read obsessive compulsive disorder books to one of my kids, and I was like, this is good. This thing right here, this is good stuff. I wish I had this when I was little, And it's a really nice way to talk about these things in ways that don't make it quite so personal, right? And when you talk about this, you want to talk about it from an empowered place. You want to talk about this as like, these are the things I do with it. And I'm absolutely working to resolve this. And, this is just a brain function challenge, and the brain heals beautifully, right? If you're still in victim mode and you are looking for pity from your child, that is a no-no. That is a violation. That is another mistake that some parents make, but it's not for today. I could have put that on there, but I did not. So, do not use your child to meet your emotional needs. Do not use your child to work out your problems. That's not what this is about. This is just about giving them words to their experience as they watch you struggle and watch you suffer. I will tell my children things like, oh, I'm having a hard time getting myself together right now. If I've snapped at them, like, whoa, this is me. This is not you. That's important for them to know, that this is me. This has to do with my brain function. This has to do with my ability to manage my emotions right now. This does not have to do with you at all. You're still wonderful and great and fantastic. And I'm human, and I'm struggling with some big emotions right now. Remember that time you were struggling with big emotions? Yeah, you just needed to take some breaths, chill. You needed a hug. You needed to do all these things. I do that for myself as well, and we're good. So these are, and that's the fast version. I mean, there's lots of ways to talk about this with children, but don't think they don't get you, and don't think you are that awesome. You are the one parent that can keep your emotional wounds from your kids, because it's just not real. It's not a real thing. So if you want to argue with me about that, feel free. We'll do it. Let's do this. Anyway, so let's move on to number 2. This one is really close to my heart. This one is when I have it written down like this, but we're gonna work on a little bit. But it's when parents who struggle with anxiety, depression, or traumatic stress, they send messages to their children repeatedly. This is the mistake. The mistake is to send messages to your children that do the healthy thing. I can't, but you do the healthy thing. Don't do as I'm doing. Do as I say. And I'm making these motions because this is what's happening. The parent is pulling back over here, and they're sending the child out into the world of healthiness. And we think we're doing our children a service here, and we think that we're leading them down the path we wish we would have gone. And we think that we're just because we can't do it doesn't mean our kids shouldn't be able to do it, because they should, and this is the right path for them. And I love that, and I love that you love your kids, and I love that you are trying to get them on the direction for them. But psychologically and subconsciously, what you're doing is, to a child, that's like you're basically saying, you go over here to Wellness Island and mommy's going to stay over here in Unwellness Island. And they feel that way. They feel like they're being pulled away from you, pushed away from you, and they're going someplace scary, somewhere that they've ever seen before, and they're going without you. And this is really, and so children will do a lot right here to sabotage themselves and keep themselves over here on Unwell Island, okay? And so you're actually creating the opposite effect that you want, because children aren't ready to separate from mom and dad yet, you know? And if mom is wounded, guess where your child wants to be? They want to be right there with mom wounded. Okay? And so when you say, hey, no, I'm wounded, go without me, leave me behind. No, they're not going to. That's not happening. That's a mistake. That is wrong. Don't do that. I want you to avoid that at all costs. But you're like, okay, yeah, but I'm seriously wounded here. I can tell you that I'm wounded, and I don't want my kid to be wounded. Okay? I love that. And the basic solution here is heal. Heal yourself. Do everything you can to heal. Do it now. If you get started now, the chances are of you being emotionally well in even 2 to 3 months' time is greater than if you don't get started right now. And again, let me tell you something. I have seen some freaking miracles happen in 3 months with a little bit of elbow grease and some amazing commitment to follow a committed program. I mean, not program, strategy. There we go. To follow a committed strategy. I've seen amazing things happen. So, and I've seen people with complex trauma do hardly anything at all except for to show up in my therapy, sit in my couch, and a year and a half, and they're healthy and they're vibrant. Because with the right tools and strategies, these things resolve. The brain is ready to heal. Actually, a lot of the symptoms of anxiety, depression, traumatic stress are the brain trying to heal itself, and it can't. It just gets blocked and stopped, and so it starts right back over, and then it does all those symptoms again over and 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 over again. And that can go on for decades. Time does not solve that. Committing to solving your problem and finding the right strategy is what solves this. And guess what? I know you've tried. I know you have already been to therapy. I know you've tried this. I know that doesn't mean you get to quit trying. That doesn't mean you get to quit looking for things. Just because you've tried things and you failed, you tried a coach here, you tried a therapist there, you tried this yoga thing here, you tried that doesn't mean you get to stop looking for your solution. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you know what doesn't work. Good for you. That's part of mastery. Part of mastery is knowing what doesn't work just as well as you know what does work. And so you're mastering this. You're getting closer. And so don't give up now. Keep going, because your babies are depending on you. They want to go to Healthyville. You know that's what they deserve. You deserve to be in Healthyville, but they're not going to go without you. And let me tell you, I have clients, I myself did an EMDR session for myself last year. And the vision that came up to me was that I was on this raft and my mom was pushing me away and saying, go be well. And I was like, no. And I'm movementing. So this is adult stuff, like, right? That was when I was 40. Okay, 39 maybe. But nonetheless, if I'm carrying this at 39, and that's an issue that I'm just now resolving, and this is my field, this is what I do. I help people get rid of this kind of stuff. How long is it going to take your kids if you don't get this? You know? And the good thing, my mom's doing all this healing work, which is fabulous. My whole family is going through this healing fabulousness, and I'm blessed and I'm lucky. That wasn't always the case, right? And so, and some of our children, and maybe you're the one just like this, that maybe you're the first one in your family to go and to go and over to Healthyville. Maybe you're going to be the first one. I don't know. And it's scary. It's scary to go. And if you're like me and you're 40 and you're like, or pushing up on 40 or cruising past 40, and you're still not wanting to leave Unwellnessville because of mom, because your mom's over here in Unwellville, and maybe she's gonna think you're better than her, or he's gonna think you're just too good now, or you're gonna be rejected, or they're gonna say some mean things to you, or they're gonna try to sabotage you and bring you down, which happens. That's a whole nother talk for a whole nother time. But you're not going to want to leave either. And maybe it takes you 40 years to get your courage up to try and go to this island people talk about where it's healthy, where people live healthy, where there's opportunity and growth, But let me tell you what, don't do that to your children at 7, at 8 years old, what you can't even do at 40, okay? Don't make them go over to Healthyville by themselves. You take them over there. Get up and take your kids over to Healthyville. And if you don't know how to get there, find somebody who does and get there, okay? The third mistake parents make is that they don't make healing a priority. And they make this with their children. And how they do this, what this looks like is that my world's a mess, but I'm going to make sure you get to soccer practice. My world's a mess, and I'm anxious, and I'm having panic attacks all the time, and I'm using food to manage all of this, and my health is deteriorating, and the doctors talk to me about diabetes, but let me make sure that you get all your new clothes, that you get to your soccer practice, that I help you with your homework, and that I X, Y, and Z. Children do not need soccer practice, new clothes, homework assistance, any of these things more than they need a healthy parent. They don't. If you give your children none of these things, but you give them a healthy parent, they are light years ahead of everyone. Like, that's the best schooling that could ever, if you don't even do anything with your kids but be a healthy human, you have rocked this. But there's so many of us that are making the mistake of putting our children first and putting our children as the priority and doing all this stuff, and we're not okay. And so it's wrong. It's backwards. When you turn this around and that's how you avoid this mistake, you turn this around, you prioritize your healing. If it means that you need to take a year and you need to do this, you need to do this. I don't think it usually works like that, but I'm just saying, like, better you take a year off of all the things than for you to miss this boat. And like I said, I don't think that that's how it happens. I don't recommend people take a year off of taking their kids to soccer practice. But the point is that your emotional wellness is the most important thing you have going on. Okay, you got your physical wellness. Your wellness is the most important thing to your child. They really don't care about anything else. They don't know that. Like, a lot of times, they want to throw fits about this and that. But really, if they understood what's going on, they would choose you every time. Like, you are their priority. Be your own priority. Stop hiding behind all the can'ts. Stop hiding behind all of the obstacles. Stop hiding behind all your failures. Stop hiding behind your child. And put yourself first. Be selfish. You came into this world selfish for a reason. And that's to help you navigate and be emotionally well. Yes, now we want to add in empathy, but that doesn't mean we want to throw out selfishness. That just means we want to have great selfishness and great empathy and mix them all together and make some really wonderful stuff. There's not a time that you're supposed to not know what you need, what you want, what makes you thrive, what makes you well, what makes you healthy, what makes you happy. There's not a time you should not be connected to that level of selfishness, okay? If you don't know that level of selfishness, you don't know what makes you happy, you don't know what makes you thrive, you don't know what you need, you don't know what you want, and you can't ask for it, there's a problem. And you need to fix it. Because your kid needs to have an example of someone who's connected to those things and who can reach for it and grab it, right? If you need to figure out how to stop panic attacks, if you need to figure out how to stop using food, if you need to figure out how to stop having flashbacks, how to stop feeling unsafe everywhere you go, if you need to figure that out, figure it out. because it can be done. It can be done. And guess what? The people that do the most extraordinary things are the people who believe that the impossible is possible. Okay? So I want you to take, drink some of that Kool-Aid. Drink some of the Kool-Aid of like the impossible is possible. Like, I've seen trauma that I'm like, oh my gosh, how does somebody even heal from this? And they heal. Okay? And they go on to live a beautiful, radiant life whose their children can follow them and be just like them and be safe and well and healthy. Okay? And I specialize in trauma work. Okay? So I'm telling you, I've seen some trauma, and they're okay. They're making it. They're undoing these patterns of self-sabotage and playing small and being afraid everywhere they go and worrying and being hypervigilant and being depressed and a loss of interest in everything and unable to feel a range of emotions. They only get, like, sometimes trauma will take you and put you in such a small place that you only get happiness. You only get happy and angry, or you just get a very small number of emotions. And we need all of these emotions. We need to be able to just expand and be and live and do, right? So those are 3 of the mistakes. Let me see if so the third, to avoid that mistake. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you what happens when you change this around. You put yourself as a priority. Everything that you get, however you fill up your cup, you get to pour that into the cup of your kid. And if you have more kids, you get to go pour all that wonderful stuff in all your kids' cups and everybody's drinking, right? But if your cup is empty, guess what? You're pouring emptiness into your kids' cups. And guess what they're drinking on when they get older? Emptiness. Okay? So put priority in yourself, because everything you get to give to your kids. If you get emotional wellness, if you get to be thriving and well, you get to pour that into your kids directly. That's the way it's done. Don't wait for all the other adults in your world to come pour stuff in because you're on unwell island and you don't know how to get off and you're tired of looking for ways. Find the way. Keep looking. Get back up and check for an escape route again. See who can help you. Maybe there's a boat coming by. I'm really working this analogy, but you get my point. Those are the 3 things I really wanted to talk with you about. I want you to get, and I want you to be motivated. I want you to push into your healing, and I want you to get well. So if this is something that you want to talk with me about, I am absolutely happy to spend an hour with you to help you figure out what's going on. Where are you stuck? Where are you stuck in this unwellness? Where do you want to go? And to create a plan to get you there. How do you get there? We can talk about that and outline that. This is a free service I offer. It's my way of serving. Plus, I know that there may be some of you that really want my help to do this. And so we're going to talk about that. And if not, that's okay too. We'll create your plan, right? And everybody heals the way they heal. So we can help you. I can help you find the right plan for you in that. So let's see if there's, you can book a call. Grab a spot on my calendar. That's rachelmcleod.com/call. I'll put that in now. If there's any questions you have, go ahead and let me know, and I will answer those. There we go. Yep, that's me. Okay, so if you want to talk about this, you want my help to take a look and just see what's going on, grab a spot on my calendar. We'll talk whenever you choose. And but between now and then, I just really want you to be pulling in. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to be pulling in this information. I want you to really, I hope I'm shifting your thoughts about these. I hope I'm bringing things to your awareness. And most of all, I hope I'm inspiring you to change. Or maybe not inspire, that feels wonderful, but maybe just motivation. Maybe I'm motivating you to change. Get this. Go get it. Bring all that emotional wellness home to those babies. So, all right, I will talk to you all later. Thanks for joining me tonight. Bye.